Well, welcome back and good afternoon. My name is Mark Belache. I'm president of TorontoJobs.ca. I will be introducing our keynote speaker here shortly, and I want to thank Nyima as well for being on. I'm just going to wait just about 20 more seconds or so. Hope you're enjoying the conference. I had a chance to get into the networking area. I've made a couple of connections already, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, definitely use the event. Don't do it now, not for the next half hour. Hear what Nyima has to say, because she's got some great information that will help you in your digital marketing process. So on that note, again, my name is Mark Belache, president of TorontoJobs.ca. I'm happy to be joined here by Nyima Sherpa, founder of Social Sherpa. Nyima is going to be talking about building a successful digital marketing strategy. She's a proven and passionate digital marketer. She's founder of Social Sherpa, which is a digital marketing company, and Nyima also teaches digital marketing. She has experience working with law firms in their digital marketing, and you want to make sure to check out her website at the Social Sherpa. That's SHERPA.ca. And if you have any questions for Nyima, I will be back a little bit later to moderate. But if you have any questions, you can post them in either the event or the stage chat, and we'll get to them as well. So on that note, thanks Nyima for being here and the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Mark. All right, so I'm gonna be presenting. I'm actually have a slides today. So if I'm good to go, I'm gonna start with the slides. So today we're gonna go over how to build a digital marketing strategy for your business. I know it's a big topic, but I have kind of narrowed it down to just focus on short-term goals. So rather than focusing on a full year extensive marketing plan, we're going to focus on how to build a digital marketing strategy for a short term, so from 1 to 3 months, and then figuring out what activities make the most sense for lawyers and law firms. So I'm just going to go over to the share screen here. So give me 1 second. But before I start, if you can let me know whether you're in a specific, practice, like whether it's whether it's family law, will and estate, real estate, or, are you a paralegal? If you can let me, if you can put that in the chats, that would be great. While I switch over to this presentation. So here it is. All right. So I'm gonna go on the full screen mode here. Perfect. All right. So today we're gonna be covering the ability to successful digital marketing strategy together. And the way I like to approach digital marketing strategy, especially for law firms or even just for any sort of business, is to first think about what is it that can be implemented. Because a lot of times we get stuck in the planning process, and it can really take you far away from what is possible to what sort of needs to be done, and then what needs to be done versus what is it that you can implement with the capacity that you have. So we're going to focus in successful digital marketing is something that actually gets implemented. So that's what we're going to be working on today. So you might be wondering why digital marketing strategy specifically. So everyone here, I'm sure you guys are, since you're on video conference here, you are 100%, you're 100% fully bought into the digital marketing world. You know why we needed, in the past year, we had 150,000 Canadian businesses, close. Some of them also experienced a lot of trouble transitioning from being in person to being completely online. So today I'm going to focus on digital marketing strategy for one main reason. We already know why we need to be online, but how do we find the calm in all of the overwhelm that's available online? So with that comes, so many new apps that are always arising, all these different activities. How are we going to juggle all of that together? So for the digital marketing strategy, this is exactly why we are trying to basically work together today and focus on what is it that we need to do in order to make sure that we have some direction, but also we're actually creating something that is implementable. The reason for that is because you don't want this to be your customers. So here's a picture of this. This is sort of how I feel on a day-to-day basis. And you might be experiencing the same thing. So especially on social media, You might be noticing that your reach for your post have been going down. And that has to do with a lot of volume of posts that are being put out. Before the quarantine, before working from home, the social media activity, a lot of people were using social media, but it wasn't at the volume that it is today. So the more volume of content that's out there, the lower the reach. So we don't want to be part of that race. We don't want to be, bombarding constantly to everybody what we're doing, what's going on. What we do want to do is talk to the select audience that we really want to win over, and then create a strategy that really focuses on this specific market. So this doesn't mean that you're focusing on this niche market overall, but at least from campaign to campaign, making it very tailored to speak to a very niche market. That way you're actually being heard, and that way you are not this person here. You're not being overwhelmed. So you're not trying to just play catch up, right? So if there is a new app, you're not trying to get on TikTok, or you're not trying to get on Clubhouse. These are just social media platforms that have just that have grown a lot in just the past 2 years. So, but we don't want to be on that bandwagon. So today we're going to focus on, how do we make this happen for you? How do we make sure that you get in front of the customer and do what you do best? So for this, I have built a simple four-step plan. Simple four steps to help you get to exactly how to create a digital marketing plan for yourself. And here it is. So here are the four simple steps, especially when it comes to building a digital marketing strategy that works for you. I've also selected I've selected about 6 different activities that you should focus on, especially if you're in the legal industry, whether you're a paralegal, whether you just deal with contracts, business contracts, or real estate, whatever that is. We have all the activities listed there. And I'm just going to be talking about, I'll just be sharing some ideas in case there are some of you guys here that are just looking for ideas as to what to do on a day-to-day basis. So number one, this is universal. All of you guys have probably heard it already, goals. The reason we focus on goals first is because we want to make sure that the business goal is in alignment with our marketing activities. And number two being the audience and channels, right? So once you know your audience, then you know exactly where to market yourself, how to get connected with the person, and what message to share with that specific audience. And the third one is the customer journey phase. So being able to kind of handpick different activities that match up with different phases of your customer journey. And lastly, the capacity portion. So before I move on, I'm going to stop right here and then ask if there is any questions. Mark, is there any questions that are coming up? Just want to make sure I'm not just rambling. Okay, no questions. All right, so I'm going to continue on. If there is a way for anyone to type in the chat, go ahead and do that if you have any specific questions. Oh, I see some. Make sure. Okay, so please make sure to post any questions. Oh, I see. And just put that in there. Litigator here, employment, professional, discipline, broker, dealer, litigation. Okay, perfect. At least we have one litigation lawyer. Great. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about this specific industry. All right, I'm going to go back to the presentation so that you guys can kind of see the overlay. So here's the number one thing that we always kickstart with, and that has to do with what is your business goal, and then try to think about your short-term goal, which extends to 1 to 3 months. I usually give any digital marketing activity at least 3 months to run and execute to see if it works or not. You never want to leave prematurely and just say that it doesn't work. You want to make sure you follow through completely with that, at least for a short term. And if you had to choose a short term, I would recommend that you choose at least 90 days. So for example, with business goals, let's say that your business goal is to increase sales. as a lawyer, the first thing you want to write down is your business goal, then align that with the marketing activity. So for example, if my goal is to increase number of clients, so let's say I want to get maybe 5 new clients in the next 3 months, make sure that I have some in retention, then I'm going to focus in the first month on how to pull in leads, right? With digital marketing, all the different activities that are within the realm of digital marketing focuses on different outcomes. So whether it's search engine optimization, Google My Business, LinkedIn, or let's say some form of automation, some kind of nurturing re-engagement campaign that you have on the email side. So depending on this business goal, it's going to help you define, okay, if your goal is to increase, sales by maybe 5 new clientele for the next month, next 2 months, whatever that term is, then that first month, your marketing goal is going to look something like lead generation objective. That's going to be in alignment with that goal. So you want to make sure that once you have your business goal, it really has, it has a marketing goal. So it's almost like you're translating the language. Once you have what you want, where you want your business to go, you also pull in exactly where the marketing is going to go as well. The next thing we're going to focus on is who. Especially when it comes to digital marketing, if you know your ideal audience, the classic buyer persona. I know it's something that everybody is always pulling in, but it's actually really important when it comes to digital marketing, because this is what helps us identify keywords, right? So once you know your audience, you can actually think about, okay, this is my audience. This is what they believe in. This is what they love. So understanding them fully in terms of their interests, where are they located, where do they spend their time, what do they value, all of these little characteristics that you can pull in about your audience. Once you have that, it really helps you figure out exactly what kind of copy to use. So for example, what words to use, hence the keywords, right? So all of these buzzwords, but it just means what are they typing in to search for services like yours? Where are they? Based on their age group, based on their interest. Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Facebook, Instagram? So these are all the questions that really come up. And here's an interesting example. So one of the clients that I worked with, they focused majority of their time on getting more clients that were for traffic tickets or speeding tickets. So they were actually a legal team, but it was mostly made up of paralegals, and they had like 1 or 2 lawyers, but it was mostly paralegals. And what they did was they focused most of their time and energy in finding people who would be asking questions about speeding tickets or traffic tickets. And these are things that people don't generally announce on social media, right? Like LinkedIn or Facebook. I'm not going to announce about my parking ticket, or that's not something that we publicly announce. So they actually focused on a lot of listings. So majority of their business really came from going on very private listings, anonymous listings like Kijiji on Craigslist. And then the other side of that was just using a lot of content marketing on the Google side. So like answering a lot of questions. So using a lot of FAQ content. That's sort of these were the 2 activities that they were able to figure out, okay, these are what actually helps people really. So these are 2 things that actually help our business the most. So it's not a big company, right? So they have a bunch of paralegals, like maybe 4 or 5 paralegals, and they have 2 lawyers. But because they've identified exactly who is it that, who the audience is, they're able to figure out which channels are going to work the best for them. And knowing your audience really helps you not just identify the channel, but really the messaging as well, and how you're going to speak to them, what is going to be important to them. So this really helps you put yourself in their shoes. So the second step is really finding out who your ideal audience is. And the third one, okay, perfect. So the third one actually is where I'm going to be talking about different digital marketing activities. Obviously, each one of these, we can go into details on its own. It's a workshop on its own. However, today I just wanted to kind of pull these in and just give you guys some examples and just kind of make sure that these make sense for you. So these are things that I've pulled in that I think are like at least the first four are the pivotal things that you should be integrating into your marketing. And here's why. So search, because most people, so something great about legal industry is that when people are looking for family law or looking for help with litigations, they're looking to search engines, right? And when they do that, what you're automatically getting is a qualified lead. So instead of, your time is very precious. So instead of having to go out there and find customers, what you're experiencing there is a C2B model where consumers are actually actively searching for you. So when it comes to the search engine optimization or search engine marketing, so both of those two, the main difference is that with search engine optimization, you're doing a lot of content marketing, a lot of technical SEO, a lot of the backlinking to really help you appear at the top of the search for specific keywords. Whereas the search engine marketing is just advertising on search engines. So whether that's Google ads or Bing ads. So those are two that really work well when it comes to really getting qualified leads. But if you are not a mature, if you're just coming into the industry, in the legal industry, and you're just starting off, the main thing you want to do is the search ads, and then focus on the side on creating content to really build up pages on your website to actually appear for those keywords. So number one, search engine, that's the number one for, especially for legal industry, because people generally look online for answers to their questions. And that's a great way to establish authority, gain their trust, and at the same time, get leads naturally, where they're actually qualifying themselves by finding you through search engines. Okay, so the second thing I have here is Google My Business. With Google My Business, I actually have a video. I'm not sure if I can post it here, but I actually have a video of how to set up and then optimize your Google My Business. The secondary thing that I think it's really important across all legal professional why Google My Business is so important is because it really focuses on your local traffic. And one great thing about being a lawyer is that no matter if you're in Canada, if you're in Toronto, if you're in Ontario, you're a lawyer here, you don't have to worry about global talent, right? Working remotely, you're not going to have to worry about a lawyer in New York. You're not going to have to worry about a lawyer in another country. It's not like digital marketing. So when it comes to Google My Business, but that also means that you have to focus on people that you can actually reach within a certain location or certain area. So Google My Business really gives you that it's free. It's a free listing. So it gives you a backlink. It gives you an opportunity to always be transparent about what's going on the back end. Like, okay, these are my hours, these are the services, these are the offers, and also it allows you to maintain a relationship with customers outside of just being found. So you also have this other side of the relationship where you can have people review your business, share your customer feedback. One of the interesting things about Google My Business is that a lot of lawyers are actually scared to put themselves on the listing. But if you don't put yourself on the listing, Google also may have automatically have some listing available online that you may not be aware of. So it's just better to create a Google My Business and have a full control over it. At least you can, in the beginning, if you can get some reviews at 10 to 20 to however many, then you can actually safeguard your reputation online as well. So Google My Business is definitely the second thing that we want to focus on. And the third thing I have here is LinkedIn. For obvious reasons. So with social media, there's a lot of different social media apps popping up left and right. And like we were saying earlier, and it can be really overwhelming. So the first thing I always the first two questions that I always ask anyone when it comes to entering the social media realm is, if you are thinking of starting social media, starting to really double down on social media, first ask yourself, who's your audience? Where are they? and then whether you can actually keep up, right? So your capacity. So with LinkedIn, it's the one channel that I would recommend everyone to make sure they have, so that you can actually establish yourself as a professional. It also is searchable, and it's super easy to connect with others. You don't have to create your own company page if you're an independent lawyer or someone that just works at a firm, but it's a great way to let people know what you do. And it's just an overall great great social media platform, because you can really articulate what you're trying to say. It's not just a selfie or just a hashtag here and there. You can actually expand on your thoughts. You have an opportunity to write articles, connect with other professionals. So it really creates it does the introduction for you. So third one is definitely LinkedIn. I just want to get a quick let's see if does everybody have LinkedIn here? I just want to see if everyone's already on the LinkedIn platform or any other social media platform. Cover questions off at the end. Okay, perfect. So, all right, that's great. Okay, so looks like at least few of you guys are on LinkedIn. When it comes to the fourth one, automation and integration. So here is where it gets interesting. With the search engine, you're attracting customers, getting them to qualify themselves, or advertising. So whether it's social media advertising or search engine advertising, you're getting them to you're attracting these audience. Once you capture them on your website, what happens after is what defines whether or not you're going to have a customer or not. So once you captivate a lead on online, what happens after? So this is one other gap that I commonly see in this industry. So once somebody signs up, do they get a confirmation email? Do they get a thank you for signing up? Here's this information. This is your onboarding process. So the automation and integration portion, the fourth one, the reason I emphasize on that is because a lot of times when somebody finds you, most likely you put in a lot of work to be findable. And once they've found you and they have submitted a form asking for help or maybe a free consultation, whatever that is, what is the steps in after that, after you've captured that lead, in order to warm them up, right? So what is the nurturing process in there? Here, I would recommend either having some sort of CRM, maybe a HubSpot, maybe something that's going to really help you qualify the lead further. Having application form, onboarding form, something super simple like, thank you for signing up. Here, before booking a appointment, make sure to fill up this form, so that if you're one of the many, if you're someone that's already in the industry, you already have clients, like this will help you this will create a space between whether what the person does, you're not 100% sure, to having somebody call you after they've filled up a form and really giving you a lot more information that that would help you identify whether this is for you or are you going to refer them to somebody else. So that little step there, that integrating some kind of marketing activity, especially email marketing or some kind of onboarding process along with your search and your social, really helps you pull everything together. And the fifth activity I have here is a little bit of a experimental. Not everybody does it. When it comes to the public relation portion, I find that a lot of the lawyers are not taking advantage of it as much. So whether it's doing a simple PR campaign, like maybe reaching depending on what your practice is, taking advantage of what's going on the news, especially if you're someone that actually reads the news every morning, like maybe you have a global mail app on your phone. If you're watching the trends, watching the news quite often, if there's something that's happening that's directly related to what's going on in the industry, making sure that you're creating content that is directly, so maybe video or some kind of social media post directly related to that, and actually taking advantage of what's going on and sharing your insights. It doesn't have to always be black and white, right? So actually looking at what's going on out there and really if there's any opportunities, especially looking at it at a quarterly, like even if you do one experimental marketing on a quarterly basis, it really creates a little bit of it takes you outside of your earned media. So you also have opportunity to really get your owned media. So it really helps you get the opportunity to get into the earned media space. So with public relation and outreach, that's another one that I would really recommend everyone to try to take advantage of, especially if you're in the legal industry, because there's always something that's going on that you can definitely captivate on, especially with, so for example, for family law, right, with COVID, if there are few that have really taken advantage of that and collaborate with a lot of the relationship experts on social. So even if you don't have social media, if you collaborate with people that are in the space and actually do videos on those, you'll notice that if you're on social, you're taking advantage of this whole thing, answering questions, talking about the rate of separation. These are topics that people are actually interested in. So if you were doing that, let's say 6 months back, the stories that I have been running in December, in November, had a lot of them had to do with, people breaking up or people separating during. So these are stories that were really propping up. But if you had started right when the news started coming out, talking about working from home, and looking at the trends that were happening in other countries, especially because other countries started working from home, before us. So keeping track of those news and then relating that back to your practice and creating content around that can really prop opportunities. So the fifth one is something that's a little bit extra, experimental, but something that I think anyone can take advantage of. And lastly, capacity. So of course, the reason I've said the fifth one is a little bit of experimental marketing. Not everyone needs to do it, but if you want to, kind of take advantage of it. If you're someone who's already reading the news, it's a great. It creates a little bit of fun and creativity for you as well. And the last one, the capacity portion, has a lot to do with, okay, is it time that you have most of? Is it money, skills, or system? So knowing what you have more of really helps you figure out whether or not you're going to invest in all 5 or maybe 3. So these are things that you can consider. If you have more of the money part, then maybe you can delegate that to external agency, or maybe you can hire someone who does digital marketing. If you have an in-house team, you want to think about whether or not the in-house team actually has the skills to execute the marketing. And lastly, systems, right? Do you have the systems that, can allow you to create space and onboard customers without you having to be part of every single administrative, process especially when you're getting leads. So can you handle it as well? So these are things that these are 4 things that I would consider in order to build a digital marketing strategy. And with that, if there is any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to end here. Let's see. Yep. Here it is. Hey, perfect.
Hi, Nyima.
Hey.
I do have some questions for you. I was keeping a chat on the event, and because there's a chat on both sides. But how do you decide amongst all the platforms? Because there's so many different platforms, and how much time do you allocate? do you have any guidelines for people to say, X% of your time available? When do you go out and hire somebody to like yourself to help with this?
So so the 2 questions you can ask yourself is simple. Who are your audience? What's your ideal audience? Are you trying to target a older demographic, younger demographic, middle, whatever that is? And then the second is the capacity portion. Once you understand who your audience is, you can actually pick channels that are going to make sense for you. I would usually start with 1. And once you can nail down that 1, then you can kind of scale up. A lot of the advice that goes on online is, hey, go on every single social media channel, go double down. But that really doesn't work for everybody. So I would definitely recommend going with 1 and then building up from there. And in terms of schedule, this is what I do. So at least in the bare minimum, having 1 newsletter where you're constantly talking to customers. at least having 3 posts per week, and then doing at least 1 ad campaign on a quarterly basis. If you just did that and then focus on creating a content on a weekly basis, like just 1 blog maybe on a weekly basis, that those four activity can help you long term as well, especially the blog per week. That really adds up long term. So that's what my schedule, that's at least the foundational schedule that I would recommend.
Okay, terrific. And is there one that you would recommend over another? I know you kind of talked about the different channels, and now, there's TikTok coming out and Clubhouse, and people may not know what those are other than maybe have heard it. But how do you decide, say you got a limited amount of time, because there's so many different variations within those too, right?
Yeah. So I always say that not everybody needs a podcast, for example. Like right now, you'll notice everyone's starting a podcast, and that's a new thing. Well, it's been around, but it's a new thing during quarantine. So what you can do is, try, as a lawyer, think about where your audience is. So like I gave an example earlier, like someone who is in traffic ticket or someone who's focusing on a very specific type of audience, they're going to focus on listings, and then they're going to focus on search engine optimization. Whereas if someone is trying to get more business contracts, maybe you're trying to get more people on the non-personal side, like corporation related or anything like that, then you want to focus on LinkedIn. You want to focus on Google My Business and you want to focus on LinkedIn, event marketing, a lot of newsletters, and collaborating with other people on social, because you don't have to build your own, but at least have LinkedIn and then collaborate on other people's platform. Like Toronto Entrepreneur Conference is a great one, right? So these are ways that you can really kind of make sure that for this specific industry, gain the trust, but also build some connections before you even get in front of the customer.
Great to know. Thanks, Nyima. Well, Nyima Sherpa, founder of Social Sherpa. Sherpa has been talking about building a successful digital marketing strategy. Really great tips, a lot of great takeaways. Really love your style, Nyima. Just here it is, and here's some information. But Nyima is a passionate and digital and proven digital marketer as well. Founder of Social Sherpa, a digital marketing company, and Nyima also teaches digital marketing as well. So she has experience in law firms. If you need help on your digital marketing side, make sure to visit her. socialsherpa.ca is social, and then the Social Sherpa. The social SHERPA.ca as well. And you want to give any other contact information, Nyima, about how someone can get hold of you? Or
yeah, I think if you can find me on LinkedIn, I always love doing meetings, and kind of if there's some project that I'm always interested in new projects. So especially if it's something especially if it's someone that's willing to do maybe some kind of outreach or PR campaigns, those are always fun as well. So yeah, I'm open to it. By the way, Mark, you and me, we're matching.
Oh, yeah, I know, right?
We planned this.
We have the clothing video connecting. Well, that's great. So thanks again, Nyima. For the rest of you, right now, Will Greenblatt, CEO and co-founder, Out Loud Speaker School, own the Zoom room is on right now. Till about 3:30 Eastern time, got about 25 minutes. We've also got the panel coming up at 3:30. We've got a number of great lawyers that I will introduce at that time. And don't forget, there's the networking area and there's the expo area as well. So lots of stuff to do. You have about 55 minutes left in the whole event, where you can see the time left just above my head. And Nyima, thanks again. And look forward to staying connected with you. And don't forget to reach out to Nyima if you have any questions and you want to talk about your digital marketing for your practice, your firm, and your organization. So thanks, Nyima. Thanks so much. All right, you put it on mute here, so it's okay. All right, thanks very much to everybody, and we'll be back soon, and check out the session as well. Thanks.